It's almost time. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
Welcome to the Silver Halide Show, podcast number 2 on Oliver Stone's 1991 film, JFK. My name is John, and I'm the host and producer. Thank you so very much for downloading and listening. This show's website is all one word, lowercase, TheSilverHalideShow.blogspot.com, or TheSilverHalideShow. To begin the show, I interviewed Jamie Duval, the host of Movie Geeks United, which is what I consider the best film show on the internet. And I've been an avid listener for over 2 years now. He was kind enough to speak with me for 4 hours about JFK and Oliver Stone. Following that will be material about the film from a variety of sources, including Roger Ebert, Stan Smith, DVD Beaver, E-Film Critic, Internet Movie Database, Wikipedia, Answers.com, American Cinematographer, Film Comment, and a variety of others. Concluding the show will be the man himself, Oliver Stone, speaking about his own film in audio clips gathered from the net. I will end this intro with a brief word on the Fair Use Act, and then we will begin the show. Fair use is a doctrine in the United States copyright law that allows limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights holders, such as for commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, teaching, or scholarship. It provides for the legal, non-licensed citation or incorporation of copyrighted material in another author's work.
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing I'd just be curious about is, the first time you saw it or heard about it, and reactions, and then perhaps how it grew on you over time with more viewings and such.
Yeah. Well, it came out December '91. It did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was in movie theater management back then, and I was definitely into movies. And Born on the 4th of July was actually the Oliver Stone movie that made the deepest kind of impact on me on a visceral, emotional level. And so when I heard about Oliver Stone doing JFK, I thought it was perfect for him. So the film was on my radar for a long time before it came out. And that was a particularly busy year for him because he did The Doors earlier on in the year, which I didn't quite like. I'm kind of 50-50 on Oliver Stone films. He's a director I admire tremendously, but half of his films I'm insane about, and the other half I'm not so crazy about. But I did have great hopes for JFK. I thought it was perfect for him. So,
and in that year building up, because you were aware of it coming out, were you privy to much of the hype and quote unquote controversy?
I was. I knew that a lot of journalists and media figures were attacking the film as it was being made. It was kind of all over the place, and I kind of expected it from Oliver Stone. It didn't surprise me, just because of the incendiary nature of the material.
Right. Okay. And seeing it in the theater the first time, I unfortunately have never seen JFK in a film theater.
Wow.
1991, because it was such a quantum leap, photographically, editing-wise, montage, all this stuff. It really must have been an experience to see it at that time back then.
It was. I was flabbergasted by it. I mean, it even today, and I've watched it, I'm sure over a dozen times since. It's a 3-hour, 15-minute plus movie, depending on what version you watch, that flies by in a snap of the finger. I mean, it is done at kind of a breakneck pace. There's so much information, visual and information and dialogue-driven information that's flying out at you, and it's just, you just have to keep up. So I mean, I was enthralled from the first time I watched it. I knew that it was a monumental achievement, and the audiences responded to it. I mean, it was a movie that provoked discussion after people walked out of the theater, which has become more and more rare. But it's also it's fascinating subject matter. I mean, it's the crime of the century. I mean, in American history, it's one of those Goliath stories that just draws you in and fascinates you. It's an endless kind of rabbit hole. But when you talk about this case and the content of the movie, so I was really into the JFK assassination and that whole phenomenon before the movie came out. So the movie itself just enlarged that for me.
Wonderful. I have no problem saying that I think it's got to be the most, I'm not sure if the word is deep or thick, but it's the thickest film in terms of, as you say, the onslaught of information, whether it's audio or visual or even text. I have yet to see a film, well, perhaps maybe Nixon as well, but films that just, they hit you like a punch because there's so much information to take in.
Yeah, very much so. And it's amazing to me because if you see dialogue-heavy films, and we were talking about this earlier, in terms of The Social Network or The Insider, talking head films, it's interesting how the director puts his stamp on that. And this was Oliver Stone from the first frame. What fascinates me about it is that, I mean, a friend of mine that I was speaking to tonight said it's really the first movie of the 90s because you see a lot of the elements in there with the mixed media, but also it works because it feels new, but because it really deals with classic themes too. This is a David and Goliath kind of story. Kevin Costner against the U.S. government, and it's also Oliver Stone's Frank Capra movie.
Yes.
And Kevin Costner really is the Jimmy Stewart in the piece. So it has a real Americana feel to it, kind of like the opening sequences of Born on the 4th of July do for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree.
And it's about patriotism too, which if anything aggravates me about the reception to the film by the naysayers. They always avoid that. I think Oliver Stone did this because he has a love for America in his heart. He fought for the country, and I really feel like it's one of the most patriotic movies I've ever seen. Take stock in your government and in the way your country is being run. They're working for you. Don't be misled. Don't be lied to. Don't let injustice stand. That at heart, that is what I responded to most from the movie. Those ideals.
And I think that would be the best approach. I don't think anyone would have wanted to see a sort of a dramatization of just the official story, like perhaps about the Warren Commission or something. It was so much better served doing it in a fashion like this that even if it ruffles some feathers and such, it's going to encourage contemplation or reflection. And as you were saying, the film itself is fascinating in that I feel if you're not even aware or interested in the JFK assassination, the film works as just a separate entity, just a film itself. You don't have to take messages from it or know anything about it. It can just be a very interesting, for lack of a better word, thriller But then, of course, if you are into the assassination or if you've seen the film before, as you say, it is this rabbit hole that you go into, and it is the best kind of film because every time you see it, there is either new stuff that you're seeing or hearing, new conclusions that you're making, and oftentimes you enjoy it even more than perhaps the previous. I have it running right now on my Blu-ray, and it's just the scene with Joe Pesci in The Office, and the cinematography alone, I'm blown away. I'm thinking, my God, this was shot in probably 1990 or 91, and
it was shot in 91, which is amazing. It was done at such a breakneck pace, and actually you can feel that. You can feel that in the energy of the movie. I think that served the movie.
Right. There are no scenes that really linger or go on too long. They end right when they should. The cut is where it should be. There's no scenes where you're kind of, okay, how long is this going to go till the next part, or that you're fast-forwarding through.
Yeah.
Everything, as you say, is done hyperkinetically. And I was impressed that because I know Oliver Stone had said they were experimenting with the widescreen 2351 on Born on the 4th of July. And the thing that they learned was that you have so much more screen. It costs you more money in terms of extras and sets and this kind of, which was a learning experience for them. And I'm not sure exactly what ratio they applied in The Doors, but I know for JFK, right at the beginning, he told Bob Richardson to go wild and mix everything from, Super 8, 16 millimeter grainy black and white, high quality 35 millimeter color, even there's black and white video. It's an amazing collection of styles and it's not like your typical film where there will be one section in one style and then another section in one style. This film goes back and forth between its techniques through whatever type of material it's discussing at that moment.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's almost the way a person thinks, in a sense. Like you're watching someone's brain imagine this, and there are different styles throughout.
Well, it's like when people say that their life flashes before their eyes, and this is a major piece of American history flashing before your eyes in different bits and pieces and segments and perspectives. And so, I think all that mixed media really adds to that. But I wanted to go back to something that you alluded to about the rabbit hole aspect of it. The movie can be appreciated as fiction. It probably is largely fiction. We don't know how much of his speculation is true or not. We may never know. He's the first to admit that. This is a counter-myth to the Warren Commission, is what he always says.
Yeah.
So it can be appreciated just on the level that you said as a political thriller. In terms of theme, I think that it has a similar theme to Zodiac, which is it is a rabbit hole. It is something that can obsess you, that you can become obsessed with, and something that you can never kind of crawl out of. I see that in the Garrison character. His investigation goes deeper and deeper and gets more and more kind of exaggerated, his theories, and his personal life suffers. And so it's dealing with a lot of those kinds of themes too, and that speaks to me.
And you have to have a very strong anchor in a film like this, as you say, a Jimmy Smith type of character as the lead, because he is going to be walking you through practically every scene and setting the tone, whether it's emotionally or just in terms of what the film is trying to accomplish in those scenes. And for Kevin Costner, coming off of Dances with Wolves, where he had just become a director and was recognized with the Oscars and such, I know he turned the picture down initially and came back, but